system, an actual immigration process that addresses a 21st century globalized economy. Because of what's happening right now, we have people graduating with degrees, right, who are educated here, who leave to go to Indonesia or other countries to start their businesses. Think about the fact that even, for example, H1 visas or HB1 visas, right, like Silicon Valley, the one engineers, we're talking about 55,000 visas, like that's it. And what I find interesting here too is, especially when I was talking to a guy in Alabama today, look at who's exploiting whom. The Mexican-US border says keep out. 5 yards in, we say job wanted, and we'll pay you $2. So not only are the American workers suffering, but so are the Mexican immigrants, right? So how do we address that? But right now, all we do is talk about the illegal this, illegal that. All we do is politicize the issue. All we do are Republicans who used to be on the right side of this issue, including John McCain and Orrin Hatch, the original co-sponsor of the DREAM Act, who are now nowhere to be found. And to me, looking at the fact that diversity is destiny, and looking at the fact that you now have a generation of multicultural America that has equated the Republican Party with being the anti-immigrant party, that is like a realignment unlike we haven't seen since the Democrats in the South in terms of black voters and the black vote. I mean, that's why I think this is a really, which is why I don't know if you read the president's off-the-record interview with the Des Moines Register. He talked about the fact that he thinks he's going to get immigration reform done because he now thinks that there's enough Republicans in Congress who are looking at the districts and looking at the map and realizing, oh shit. So I am all for securing, I am all for trying to come up with a way that we let people come in, I mean, that we let people move forward and come forward, and I'm also for enforcing whatever kind of system we need to put in place that addresses the global economy that we're dealing with and realizing the fact that we depend on immigrants for a wide slew of jobs. And that's the thing. I mean, I think, especially I'm looking forward to this in Alabama because we're having a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce people. To have an honest conversation with them about what immigration has done to working class white people. We never talk about that. So instead, the working class white people are now blaming the immigrants instead of actually looking at the businesses and saying, what are you doing wrong? So I think that's an important part of the puzzle too. Yes.
Hi, my name is Tatiana Alonso. I'm a recent graduate here of U of I and also La Colectiva, so thank you for working with La Colectiva. So my question is, so right now what I'm doing is we've registered over 1,000 new voters up in Lake County.
Oh, wow.
And Lake County is far north from here, almost borderline Wisconsin. And now we're in GOTV mode, right? So
get out the vote.
Get out the vote, exactly.
God, we're such with politicos here, GOTV. All right, cool.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that me and my volunteers have seen, though, is that we're having a hard time getting the Latinos that are so upset with Obama,
I know,
really to go out and vote. You know, we try and we're like...
And why are they upset? Because of the deportations? Like, exactly, can you explain why?
Deportations, he's just lies, he didn't do anything.
Oh, he's a politician. Okay.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we're having a hard time really convincing people to still go out and vote, regardless of how upset we are. The importance of the vote is still there. So if there's any advice that you think that I could take back, or anything that you would recommend that works to get people to go out and vote, because we have 11 days. So
can you believe that we have 11 days? Or President Romney? I mean, I'm just saying. Hey, I can't vote. By the way, people like me can't vote. I can't even begin to tell you how many people come up to me and say, so how many times have you voted? I can't vote. Like, what are you talking about? To your point, I mean, I think I said this last night, if I had a dream, it would be like undocumented people would be knocking on these doors and say, can you put, that's amazing. So that's not convincing enough for people? Yeah, I have both for me. I'm sorry, but deferred action happened. I gotta tell you, by the way, last night I went on, I'm a crazy Facebook person. So yesterday I had 4 messages and 2 texts from undocumented young people, one of which is this kid from UC Berkeley, Jose. I won't say his last name. who goes to UC Berkeley, an engineering student who's been here since he was 5. He qualifies for deferred action that the president announced in June, and yesterday he got his approval. So he took a photo of it and texted it to me and said, "Jose, life is about to start." So this is real, and it's temporary. And Romney has said that he wouldn't continue, that he would actually not honor this temporary reprieve because he wants to come up with a permanent solution. The same person that says that people like me should self-deport. So I don't know how much credibility he has in that front. Frankly, I think Governor Romney is starting to really confuse himself. But yeah, so this is real. And of course, I mean, was that a political move by the president? Of course it is. It's an election year. Every year is an election year. Of course. But at the end of the day, the question here is, who's getting stuff done and who is actually addressing this very complicated issue? I understand that the president hasn't done, he has spent all the political capital in healthcare, nothing else got done. But I think sometimes we forget to kind of get out of our own foxholes about that immigration isn't the only issue in America, and the fact that we need to connect it to the economy. Right? I mean, again, as somebody who's been traveling around the country and talking to a lot of working class white people, like, I feel like they haven't had such a way to talk about the anxiety that they feel. And it's almost as if, did you notice, by the way, in the 3 presidential debates and in the VP debate, not once did gay marriage or gay rights come up? Did you notice that? In some ways, I think immigrants have become the new gay. Meaning that now that people understand that gay marriage and gay rights is an inevitability, right? Because of your generation, because of young people, right? We need another issue to play football with, and this is it. This is the issue. And again, to me, by the way, and this is kind of part of the message of that video, as somebody who grew up, as somebody who's gay who grew up in the Will and Grace era, to me, Will and Grace was a real cultural moment because it showed people that gay rights wasn't just about will, it was also about grace. That everybody has a gay roommate or a gay classmate or a gay, relative, right? And you translate that to immigration and somebody who's undocumented. They haven't told you yet maybe, but you know somebody who is. And I think that's kind of where we are in the issue. Pilar.
Hi.
God, I have a good memory. I remember that. Okay.
Yeah, so I just have a story to share. I'm from Ecuador, and I just want to encourage you to include in your presentations the fact that different immigrants or different illegal immigrants are treated differently.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
What happens at the border is very different for ones that it is for others. And you use a lot of the example of Mexicans, and that's the kind of in the imaginary, the imaginary of like Mexicans crossing the border or crossing the desert or something like that. But my husband is from Cuba, and I married him, and that is the way that I obtained my residency. My mom had, it's 10 years, almost 10 years that she petitioned my brother and I. My brother hasn't been able to come. She's been here for almost 10 years, and we haven't received any response yet. But within 1 year, my husband and I obtained a residency.
So how long is the waiting period for Ecuador?
Not for Ecuador, it's for Cuba.
Oh, for Cuba? No, I mean, like, how long is the waiting period from, like, for example, in the Philippines is about 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, it's about 10 years. It's
okay.
around 10 years. So
I think in India, it's like almost 20 years.
So, I mean, just thinking about, this category of undocumented does not exist for Cubans.
Yes.
So that's just.
I mean, to me, what's interesting is before I came out, I treated it as I started reporting on myself and how messed up my whole immigration situation is. So I spoke to like 24 lawyers, immigration lawyers. One of whom said to me, hey, would you happen to have any relatives who fought in the Spanish-American War? I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Because, the Philippines was a U.S. territory, right? From 1915 to 1919. And if I had had a grandfather who had fought in that war, like a lot of Filipinos did, I could have